Before it was the United States, it was Mexico and indigenous land. So why do we call people illegal for returning to the land that was once taken from them? Welcome to week 2 of our July series, Borders Are Colonial. This week, we confront a truth many Americans never learn. This land was Mexican land and indigenous land first. Here's what happened. Let's rewind the clock. In 1846, the U.S. government invaded Mexico. That war, called the U.S.-Mexico War, was not about defense. It was about expansion, driven by the idea of manifest destiny, the belief that white Americans were divinely entitled to take over the whole continent. The U.S. waged war to claim Mexican territory. And after 2 years, in 1848, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed under duress. Mexico was forced to give up over half of its territory, what is now California, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Utah, parts of Colorado, and Wyoming. Imagine losing half of your country overnight. You're probably wondering, who is this gringa and why is she talking about colonization? My name is Carrie McCarthy, award-winning art therapist and founder and CEO of Startup Art Therapy, and I have been working with Native American tribes for over 20 years. I speak fluent Spanish and now am living in Mexico working with Latino communities. I specialize in historical trauma and have witnessed the direct impact of genocide, displacement, and colonization. I've dedicated my career to right the wrongs of the past by helping heal First Nations people. So now that you have a little bit more information who I am, let's continue our story about how borders came to be. Before Mexico claimed these lands, they belonged to indigenous nations. The Tohono O'odham, Navajo, Apache, Yaqui, and many others lived, traded, and traveled across these lands freely long before any border existed. So when the U.S. drew that border, a line that cuts across deserts, mountains, and communities, it wasn't just about geography. It was about control, about dividing people. It was about disrupting indigenous life. Entire tribes were put into barbed wire cages called agencies, now referred to as reservations, on the worst unfarmable lands with no food sources and forced to convert to Christianity in order to feed their families. In fact, some tribal nations like the Tohono O'odham were literally split in half. Their sacred lands and burial sites are now cut off by fences, walls, and armed patrols. The Hopi Reservation was put exactly within the center of the Navajo Nation, and they are actually traditional rivals. They were strategically placed there so that the tribes themselves would continue the genocide started by white colonizers. What began as colonial theft has evolved into modern displacement, deportation. Deportation is not a new phenomena, it's a continuation of this violent history. So today, people are criminalized for crossing a border that wasn't theirs to begin with. Entire families, indigenous and Latino, are torn apart, and historical and intergenerational trauma are perpetuated generation after generation. So let's be really clear. No human being is illegal, especially not on stolen land. The U.S.-Mexico border is not just a policy issue, it's a scar from centuries of colonization. It's the product of war, of white supremacy, of dispossession. So let's honor the truth. This land was and still is indigenous land. Understand whose land you are on. You can actually download an app called Native Land and find out the name of the tribe whose land you are actually standing on right now at this moment. If the crazy state of the world has got you feeling anxious, overwhelmed, emotionally drained, etc., you're not alone. I have 2 openings this month for private clients who want to work with me using art therapy for self-discovery, for trauma recovery, and just emotional regulation, and to relax a little bit, feel a little bit sane in this crazy world. And I have a wait list for an upcoming art therapy group. And this is your invitation to transform stress, fear, and collective trauma into healing, calm, and empowered action. So you can click on the link below to schedule a free discovery call with me. I look forward to seeing